big horses, big jumps, and Paddy Power are paying big places. 6 to be exact. That's a whopping 6 places on each way bets if your horse finishes in the first 6 in the Grand National. Applies to place part of each way bets at 1/5 of the odds. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the Racing Post Monday Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm delighted to be joined this week by Tom Park from the Racing Post, international racing expert Brendan Duke and Paddy Power's wise owl Tom Nugent. Sometimes we review the weekend at this stage. I think it's fair to say we could just do that by saying some horse racing took place and then move on, couldn't we? So instead, let's get stuck into what's happening, what's coming up at the end of this week in Liverpool. It's the Grand National meeting, 3 sensational days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And while we will look at Thursday and Friday in great detail very, very shortly, first of all, let's look at the big race. It's the Randox Health Grand National. I'm sure the boys are absolutely brimming with wisdom on this one before they give us their views on who's going to win the greatest race in the world. Tom Nugent, how do Paddy Power bet?
Yeah, Total Recall is our 10-1 favourite at the moment. We're non-runner, no bet that market still. Annabelle Fly is next in 11-1. Black Line 12s alongside Tiger Roll. Manella Rocco is 14-1 alongside The Last Samurai. 16-1 See You at Midnight and 20-1 Bar.
And 6 places, which can't be bad, can it?
6 places indeed. Every little helps in a race like this, Bruce.
Who's been the best back horse at the moment, Tom?
Plenty of dash flying around for Annabelle Fly over the last few days. Of course, he won the Paddy Power Chase at Christmas in Leopardstown, and a few others, old favourites. Tiger Roll well backed after winning the cross country in Cheltenham, but it's still early doors. I'm sure the market will chop and change a fair bit outside of the favourites as the week goes on.
Parky, are you looking at one of the front runners here, or do you, I don't know. I always have a big study up on the Friday night when I know what the ground is, know the runners are. I don't want to rush here. I want to have a good old study up Friday night. But I'm just kind of sensing at this stage that we might be in for a shock this year. What do you think?
Well, there's 2 that I fancy. One is very much ground dependent and is towards the head of the market, and that is Manella Rocco. His jumping on soft ground or worse, his record is terrible. But on good to soft and better, he's got a very good record. And, you know, he's beaten the Gold Cup winner Native River twice. And he's going to stay all day. He's a big horse. I know he's carrying top weight, but I think he'll carry that weight, no problem.
There is a ton of rain forecast, you know, Parky.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think, is it meant to be dry on Thursday and Friday? It might dry out quick.
Friday it says 17 mils on the one I look at.
Well, that must have changed since I've looked at it. Look, I wouldn't be as strong on him if it came up soft ground for the reasons that I said. He's not the most fluent of jumpers, but he is going to stay the trip. That said, the other horse that I fancy in the race is called Vintage Clouds. I've mentioned it a few times on here. I'm convinced he's going to win a big one. He needs 5 to come out the race, which I think could happen. I think Vicenti's in the same ownership. He'd probably go to the Scottish National instead. But I'm really keen on Vintage Clouds. I think he's crying out for an extreme test. He'll go on any ground. And if he can get into a rhythm, I think he'll be he'll certainly be finishing the strongest at the end. And he's very well handicapped, I think. I'm convinced he's going to win a big one.
So you could be looking at the one at the top and the bottom of the card, couldn't you? Manella, Rocco and Vintage Clouds. Brendan, have you got a good record in the National?
No, I haven't backed the National winner since Hedgehunter.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm due.
That's a while back now, isn't it? And are you confident you're going to nail it this week?
Well, I wouldn't say confident. I think I don't want to turn people off from listening to the rest of this, but I think your shout about the weather is very significant. You're looking at the Norwegian boys with this 17 mils, are you?
No, I don't like that Norwegian one. I use something called Forecast.com, which is probably really basic, but I know that what's it called, ak.no or whatever, they've got it in for, but my one's got 17 mils as well. So, you know, it's difficult enough, Brendan, isn't it? You've got 40 horses, all those fences, and now at this stage of the week we've got to worry about the weather as well, haven't we?
Indeed. Well, I mean, if it were to come up heavy, that'd be a disaster, because Paddy Power could go 20 places. It won't matter, because there'll be about 3 finishers. So so wait and see with the weather. But I at the moment I do have one I fancy, and I think he'll cope with the ground, whatever it is.
Has he got a name?
See You at Midnight.
He was just sold, wasn't he? He's changed hands.
Yes, the Cheveley Park people bought him, and I think a shrewd investment.
Really? Can you elaborate on why you like him?
Well, I think he's the right age. I think he'll stay. I mean, if we're dealing with heavy ground over that trip, it's impossible to know what'll stay. But he stayed pretty well in the Scottish National. And I always look to these the three big nationals when I'm trying to find a horse that'll stay. I think he's well handicapped. He's the right age. I think he just ticks a lot of boxes.
A second successive Scottish winner of the National. That would be interesting. Tom Nugent, who have you sussed?
I was laughed off the podcast before Cheltenham for tipping up Tiger Roll at 50-1. But his price has collapsed now. He's gone short. He's 12-1 shot. I still think he'll have a right chance. The one at the big price that I only just kind of came across, well, not came across today, but I just going through it this morning. Bade Is Ill for Ross O'Sullivan is a 7-year-old grey mare. She won the Punchestown National Trial last year and came third in the Bobby Joe. She finished third in the same race behind Folsom Blue this year. And I think this rain won't be a bother to her. She seems to stay all day.
And does the trainer's Trouble and Strife ride?
Not sure actually.
I thought Katie rode that.
She does. She does ride it normally, but not sure if she'll be booked for the National. I assume she will, or else there'll be trouble in paradise.
Damn right.
But so they're my two, and I'll probably back Uccello Conti as well, just because he's my guilty pleasure. Even though he can't seem to win it all, but he seems to never be far away from the frame.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, chaps. Okay, every week we give our listeners and viewers the chance to win a free £25 or €25 bet, courtesy of our sponsors, Paddy Power. All you have to do is tweet your answer using the hashtag Postcast for your chance to win. The question is, who won last year's Grand National? The winning entry will be revealed in Friday's Postcast.
Big horses, big jumps, and Paddy Power are paying big places. 6 to be exact. That's a whopping 6 places on each-way bets if your horse finishes in the first 6 in the Grand National. Applies to place part of each-way bets at 1/5 of the odds. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
OK, obviously, before we get to Grand National Day, we've got 2 sensational days at Aintree, Thursday and Friday. Absolutely brimming even with quality. I think a lot of people actually prefer Aintree to Cheltenham, Tom, because you've got that extra line of form for each horse, haven't you? You know, you know more about them. So let's look at the big race on Thursday. It's the Betfair Bowl. What's the latest betting from Paddy Power, please, Tom?
Might Bite is our 8-15 favourite at the moment. Bristol Demise next in at 5-1. Balco de Flo 13-2 alongside Definitely Red, and it's 10-1 bar.
Tom Parker, away you go. Who wins this? The Jolly?
Yeah, I'm being very boring. I just can't see Mike Bite getting beat. He was brilliant in the Gold Cup, beaten by an equally brilliant horse in Native River. I just don't think there's really anything in there that can beat him. If you were having an each-way bet, I think T for 2, winner of the race last year, he might outrun his odds. But I can't see anything getting near to Mike Bite. I think the track and triple suit him better than it did at Cheltenham. And I think he'll be getting back to winning ways.
Brendan, are you keen to oppose the Jolly?
Certainly am, Bruce. Well, it'd just be interesting. He's obviously a ridiculously talented horse, but he had to go to a very dark place in that Gold Cup, and whether he can come back from it, he'll have to be a very tough horse if he ever wants to go through that again. I think the race could ruin him forever. And Bristol 5-1 on his beloved, well, could easily be heavy ground depending on which forecast you look at, flat track. I think Balco de Flo will defect to the 2.5 mile race now that Altior isn't running. So I would say Bristol Demise 5-1 looks a very fair price to me.
I mean, Mike Bright, it was an incredible contest, that, Brendan. But as you say, I mean, the amount they appeared to give in that contest, you'd just be concerned, would you? That I mean, some of these horses, you know, when they're involved in epics like that is kind of the best that we ever see of them, isn't it?
Yes, well, I mean, they have to go so deep, and it's such a painful experience that whether they ever want to feel that pain again, you couldn't blame them if they didn't want to. I think both of those horses will struggle to reproduce that run ever again, personally, but I hope I'm wrong.
Tom Nugent, with that in mind, are you a backer or a layer of Mike Bite?
I'm probably neither. I probably wouldn't back him at odds on. on ground that if it's going to be as heavy as you mentioned, he'd be vulnerable. If you do fancy him though, would you consider double shuffle at 14-1 each way? This is probably going to be a small enough field, I'd say, Bruce, is it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
It's probably going to cut up a fair bit, so I'm not sure how many places you get, but double shuffle did run second to him in the King George. So you'd have to take him into consideration, but outside of that, it's not an amazing betting race. Brendan makes a fair point about Bristol de Mai. All boxes might well be ticked for him, but I'd wait to see what's going to show up in this. To be honest, at the moment you're not getting your non-runner no bet terms at the moment, so it's just a bit messy for me. A lot of horses mightn't show up.
Yeah, and I suppose, Brendan, if there is a track that is the nearest thing to Bristol de Mai's beloved Haydock, I guess this is fairly similar, isn't it?
I would have said so, yeah. Quick track, yeah, I would have said so.
Okay, it's going to be a popular double this on Thursday. Might buy to 8-15, even with Brennan's misgivings. And in the 325, which is, of course, the Aintree hurdle, Bouvardere at 4-7. Having said that, of course, he wasn't ultra impressive by any means in the Champion hurdle. He got the job done. Just shout, how short is he now, Tom? And Tom Nugent, what is your view of his chances of following up Aintree?
4-7, and surely he has to have a fair chance. I'd be interested to see if something went on and made it a really, really true test to kind of test this. He'll have to go to the well of stamina and see how far he can stay, but it would be hard enough to oppose him. He did look classy in the Champion hurdle. They always say in the Champion hurdle you need to get 2.5 miles well to win at over 2 at Cheltenham. 2.5 miles on a flat track, albeit heavy ground, might not be that much of an issue for him, I'd say.
And how are you betting on his rivals?
Yeah, we're 3-1 Super Sunday. He's flip-flopping 7-2, 3-1. The new one is 8-1. My Tent or Yours. 10s alongside Lammy Surge. York Hill 12-1 and 20s Bar.
Brennan, you were keen to take on Might Buy. Are you keen to take on Bouvardere as well?
Not really. I mean, I love Super Sunday, and it's interesting that this catch distance for the Champion and the Stairs Hurdle, I think both Beauvoir and Super Sunday, their optimum trip is probably 2.5 miles. So I think it's ideal. I just think Beauvoir just scraped home and Gordon Elliott's horse was third. You can crib the form or whatever. I still think that run will be good enough to beat Super Sunday, and I can't see any of the others winning. So I as you know, I don't really play at those prices, so I won't be backing them, but I would expect Beauvoir to win.
Of the two Thursday favs, you'd be far keener on Bouvardere by the sound of it.
Yes.
Parky, what are your thoughts here?
I'm going to take Bouvardere on with Super Sunday. I'm just not convinced. I certainly don't think that Bouvardere is as good, has been as good this year as he was last year. Look, he got the job done at Cheltenham. He's a 2-time Champion hurdle winner. So it's hard to crab him, but I do think that Super Sunday ran a super race in the Stayers. Didn't quite get home. I think this is his optimum trip. And, you know, Bouvardere didn't beat Mellon by much in the Champion hurdle. Super Sunday in the Irish Champion hurdle had Mellon a long way behind. So if you're going off that form, you've got to give Super Sunday a squeak.
Okay, now there's loads of other great stuff on that Thursday card, 2 other Grade 1s. You've got the Fox Hunter over the big fences. Give us one each from the Thursday card. Tom, you go first.
Well, as you know, I was dead keen to get Apple Shakira beat at Cheltenham, and I'll be dead keen to get a beat again as well. I'm going to take her on with a stablemate, We Have a Dream. I think that Apple Shakira had a hard race at Cheltenham. That was dire ground on that Friday, on the hurdles course especially. And, you know, I don't know what price We Have a Dream is, but he's vying for favourites.
I do. He's 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll go off favourite, to be honest. I think he had a little setback that kept him out of Cheltenham, but that might have been a blessing in disguise. And I think he's a very good horse.
Okay, Brendan, who's your best bet on Thursday away from the big 2 races that we've talked about?
Yeah, Tom has stolen my thunder. Couldn't agree more with him. So I will give you another one. The 410, the Inval. I thought he looked a fair price at 7-1. He was second in the same race last year. He's £3 lower this year. He gets a £7 pull with Le Président for a 5-length beating at Cheltenham, and he was slightly messed around. I can't remember if it was the 4th last or the 3rd last. He was slightly hampered. I think he'll get pretty close to Le Président and go close to winning the race.
And that's the Inval, who is 7-1 in the 440 Aintree. Tom Nugent, what else have you got for us?
In the Mayor's Bumper, Posh Trish is a 10-1 shot. Getaway Katie May has been very well back. She's the 3-1 favourite at the moment. Posh Trish bet Getaway Katie May by 14 lengths in a point-to-point in Lemonfield last year. She was very impressive winning in Aintree and Cheltenham Bumpers, albeit earlier in the season. She didn't give a running at all in Ascot just at Christmas time, and showed a little bit more after a break in Sandown the last day. I think she'll have a decent each way shot at 10-1.
Let's look at Aintree Friday next.
Big horses, big jumps, and Paddy Power are paying big places. 6 to be exact. That's a whopping 6 places on each way bets if your horse finishes in the first 6 in the Grand National. Applies to place part of each way bets at 1/5 of the odds. T's and C's apply. 18+ begambleaware.org.
Let's look at the Melling Chase on Friday first up. I'm not sure we got prices yet, have we, Tom?
We do indeed.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yes. Min is our 11-8 favourite. Politolog 3-1 next in. Balco de Flo is a 9-2 shot. Top Notch 7s alongside Cloudy Dream. Frodon is 12s and it's 16-1 bar.
And we'll stick with you, Mr. Nugent, for the first tip on the race.
Min is shortened up like an intended runner, so you'd have to take note of that at least. I'm not sure, is Balco de Flo going to show up here or not?
Brendan thinks he will.
Brendan, you think he will? I thought he was very, very impressive in the Ryanair. And he would probably be my pick at 9-2. Haven't looked at it too hard, to be honest now. Not 100% sure what else is going to show up.
Okay, Brendan, what's your view?
Well, my view has changed after what Tom said. I didn't think Min was going to run because I thought he was going to be held back to help Willie with the trainer's title. But if they're seeing the cash for him, that suggests he is going to run, and they're going to rely on Duvan maybe at Punchestown. That's interesting. So now Balco might look at this race. I don't know. I think if Min runs, yeah, I'll back Min. I think that Champion Chase is very strong form and stronger than Balco. Admittedly, very impressive in the Ryanair, but I think I'd go for Min. I'm a bit thrown, to be honest with you.
So a few question marks about participation, Parky, but based on what we know now, where would your money be going?
Yeah, I can't understand why Mullins would run Min, but if there's money for him, then you've got to take note of it, and I think he will be very hard to beat. That said, I think, look, Cloudy Dream is as consistent as it gets. He's probably got a little quirk in him where he maybe doesn't win as many races as he should, but at 7-1 with doubts over the favourite running, in a race that could cut up quite a bit, I think there's some each way value there. I don't think he'll be out the top 3.
Okay, as with the Thursday, obviously there's packed full of great stuff on Friday. Give us one other horse that you think we should back on Friday, Parky.
I hope they run Flying Angel in the Topham. He won a Grade 1 at this meeting last season, and he looks well handicapped off 148 if he takes the fences. I hope it dries out a bit because I think that he'll be better on better ground, but he's won on heavy before, so I wouldn't rule him out completely. And in the same race, I think that Top Gamble is interesting. Given how much money there was for him at the festival, he was backed off the board, and he finished 3rd in the Grand Annual. And I think the step up and trip will probably suit him as well. Okay, so Tom goes for 2 in the Topham at 4.05. That's Flying Angel, who's 12-1 with Paddy Power, and Top Gamble, who's 16-1. Brennan, anything else for us at Aintree on Friday? Yeah, the 250 is an interesting novice chase because it melds the JLT and RSA form. There was a Fairy House contest won by Album Photo, which suggests that the RSA was a stronger race, and Elegant Escape ran perfectly well in that. He'll need every yard of this trip, but 3 mile 1 furlongs on the predicted really deep ground, it will be a savage test, and I thought he should be favourite. He's 9-2 second fav. I thought he looked a bet. Lovely. And Tom Nugent, anything from you? Aintree Friday. Yeah, I think the bumper favourite Danny Kerwin was very impressive in Kempton last time, and I really, really like his chance. He's a 4-1 shot at the moment. I think it's a great price. Righty ho. So what is your Aintree one best bet across the 3 days? Parky, we'll start with you. I'm all over Forrest Behan if they run him in the Red Rum handicap on the Thursday. He's a high class horse. He was beaten ahead, I think, in the Grade 1 last season at this meeting. He runs off the same mark as when he beat Simply Ned, I think at Kelso earlier in the season. And Simply Ned went on 2 starts later to beat Min. Look, he wasn't beaten far as a novice by waiting patiently. He beat Cloudy Dream. He's on a high enough mark, but he ran in a jumper's bumper last time at Lingfield. He bolted up in that. He was always going to win. But I just found he goes on any ground. I just thought it was interesting that they're running him in a race like that, where protecting his mark. So I think they're probably targeting this race, and I think he's got a big chance. OK, Tom's nap is Forest Bean at 12-1 with Paddy Power in the 4:40 at Aintree on Thursday. Brendan, what's your nap of the week?
2:20 Thursday, We Have a Dream.
And Tom Nugent.
Danny Kerwin on Friday in the Weatherby's Racing Bank National Hunt Flat Race.
All right, lads, well played. Now then, we should give a little nod to the weekend just gone. It was very nice to see the ITV cameras up at Kelso, very picturesque course. I want one horse each from the weekend chaps that listeners should put in their Racing Post horse tracker. Parky.
A Moment of Madness that won the sprint handicap at Kempton. He was well backed for a few big handicaps last season. I think he's got a big one in him this season.
He was good, wasn't he? Went to the front early and kept going.
Absolutely, and he's a classic example of a Charlie Hills improver. I think he's a good horse.
Righto, Brendan, what caught your eye?
I was in Navan on Saturday, and there was a horse finished third in a 10 furlong handicap called Remy D. Now, he was a distant third. He was beaten about 8 lengths, but he's a good-looking horse. He stood out in that company. He's rated 67. I find it hard to believe he isn't better than that. And he handles deep ground. He's bred to relish it. I think he'll win the next day.
And what have you got for us, Mr. Nugent?
Yeah, on the same card at Navan, I really liked the way Flat to the Max won the maiden over a mile. He's by Maxios out of a Giants Causeway mare. He seems to handle bad ground. Could be interesting in some of the longer distance handicaps towards the end of the season. OK, quick catch up on the Brennan Duke love life. Anything for us, Brendan?
Nothing at the moment. I've returned to Tinder though. Yeah, I was going to knock it on the head, but I'm doing a few things now at the moment, and basically I need amusing anecdotes, and I'm walking the streets hoping that amusing anecdotes will hit me in the face, and it's not happening. So I'm going to get out there into the world of 30-something women for amusing anecdotes, and we'll watch this space. You see, it's a very difficult situation, because remember when Paul Keeley, prophet of doom that he is, he said that this is grand, but you're going to have to tell them you're not working at the moment. And I was there, yeah, that's not good. Well, I'm currently, due to a bit of domestic upheaval, I'm currently living with my mother, so I now have to tell them I'm between jobs and between houses, and that's probably a bit of a tough sell, really.
Yeah, I think you're going to struggle there, Brendan. I mean, it's funny that, because with actual stand-up comedians, they always just walk down the street and something happens, don't they? They always start their joke with, I was walking down the street, but I'm sure something happened. What was that one that you had when that bird got stuck in your gutter? Do you remember that? It was like
that was great, yeah.
Crane or something,
that's right. But I mean, that stuff just does. I mean, there's gutters in this house I'm living in now, but it's hard to find a crane, you know. So I'll just keep walking down the street and hope something hits.
Well, good luck. I hope that do they swipe right to like or left?
You swipe right to like, correct. Well done, Bruce.
Well, let's hope plenty of that goes on. OK, chaps, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy Aintree. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. Don't forget, we have got daily postcasts from Aintree on Thursday and Friday. I'm back on Friday to present the Grand National Day postcast on Saturday, so do tune in on that. And if you enjoy the shows, do please also rate, review and subscribe on iTunes.
Big horses, big jumps, and Paddy Power are paying big places. 6 to be exact. That's a whopping 6 places on each way bets if your horse finishes in the first 6 in the Grand National. Applies to place part of each way bets at 1/5 of the odds. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.